Good morning. Just musing out loud to myself, as one does, about the nature of being, about how we are all the same self. This is true. But we're not all the same expression of self. And that's where things have gotten a little confused. We've kind of gotten it backwards, actually. Totally backwards. We think we're different selves. We think we're different people, that we're not the same consciousness, and yet that we're all supposed to be the same expression. We're supposed to express the same. First of all, how does that work? Second of all, it's backwards. It's completely backwards. We are all the same consciousness. We are one being. We are all a part of the greater being, the consciousness that we know as ours, as I am, is one. There's only one. But the expressions of that consciousness are infinite in their diversity, their nuance, their subtle differences. That is where the magic is. That's where the beauty is. To know that all of this is myself. All of it. Every color, every shade, every texture. Plant life. Of every variety. I mean, trees, shrubs, bushes, fruiting plants, flowering plants, every kind of animal, land, air, sea, insects, crustaceans, fucking rocks. I mean, that's myself. That is an expression of the self, which at my most essential, at my core, I am, is me. How absolutely incredible to witness the diversity of my being, the never-ending self-expression. It's infinite. It is unlimited. There is always a new nuance, a new variation, a new combination, or something completely new. And we've tried to make it all the same. We have tried to industrialize, corporatize, and capitalize self-expression at every level, every single level. I mean, it's obvious in the creative realm, what we've done with music and art and even artisan goods, artisan products. But beyond that, everything is the self. We've done it to everything. Food. I mean, some person somewhere decided if this mango didn't look the way that I wanted it to look, then it wasn't good. Then nobody wanted it and nobody would get it. If it was too green or too orange, or if it had a little spot right here, we throw it away. Or it's relegated to, I don't know, the lesser somehow. It's judged as less than because of its difference, because of its uniqueness, because of the subtle diversity of its expression. Being the thing that it is meant to be, which is wholly unlike any other thing. That's how it's supposed to be. The expression of this unified self is intended to be diverse and new in every version. No two things are intended to be alike. No two people, no two plants, no two animals, no two rocks. It's all supposed to be different. That's how it works. That's how self chooses to express. And furthermore, that's how nature takes care of itself, by being continuously different, by continuously reinventing. We already know, having tried to breed plants and animals and people into one thing, into being the same thing, we just breed it back in on itself and we make the same one over and over again. We know that doesn't work. It gets twisted. It gets demented. It becomes sick, unhealthy, not good, and not satisfying either. Really woefully unsatisfying. How boring is it to have the same mass-produced thing that is identical to all of the other things. Boring, uninteresting, nothing new there, nothing new being created, just slowly dying. That's what stagnation does. That's what happens when you try to be or do the same thing over and over and over. When you try to be the same thing that another person is. When you try to live the same life that your parent lived or fit into some box. When you try to grow a fruit to be exactly the same as this other fruit or an animal, it slowly disintegrates. That's where the decay, that's where the entropy happens. Nature on its own takes care of itself because it's in a constant state of allowing the smaller forms of entropy, and it's never trying to make anything the same. It never tries to make the same fruit twice. It doesn't. It goes, this one is one of a kind and it's perfect as it is. Be free. And then it goes, this one is one of a kind and perfect as it is. That's true of everything. When we let nature take its course, when nature takes its course, it takes care of itself. It is self-sustaining, self-renewing. It knows exactly how to check and balance itself. If there is too much of this one thing, if there is an excess of this thing, it's not of benefit to the rest of the system. In fact, it's not even a benefit to that thing. It is a benefit to that thing for there to be a little less of that thing, so that it all trickles through and balances itself out. It takes care of that. Is it any wonder that we have made ourselves so sick, inside and out, by trying to be all the same, by trying to make everything all the same, all of the food, all of the things that we consume culturally, all of the art that we consume and express. And is it any wonder we're so twisted in our minds when we've come to this place where we believe self-expression is supposed to be one thing? It's supposed to fit one box. There's one song that you write. That's it. If it's not the song that is, again, stamped with approval by the one person at the top with their own unique preferences, who is deciding the preferences of all of existence. If it's not approved by that, somehow it's not worthy of existing. That goes to the core. Come on. That's telling us, without saying the words, you're not worthy of existing. Your expression of self, which is what you are, is what all of this is. Your expression of yourself is not worthy of existing because I don't like it. Because I don't think it fits. Doesn't fit the brand. Doesn't fit some arbitrary definition. Doesn't fit in the same fucking box that it could never have fit in because it wasn't supposed to. It was never supposed to. It was supposed to be its own unique thing. That's its inherent value, inherent worth, is being that thing, being the unique, the one of a kind, the irreplicable, that which cannot be reproduced. It's absolutely wild. And furthermore, why is it that nothing is the same, that in nature, naturally, as things take their natural course, stupid notification, that it naturally makes everything different, that it doesn't try? Well, I mean, first of all, it just works that way, but why does it work that way? Why is that the way nature works? Because it wants to. This is so mind-boggling to me, and I get it, but it is just funny how the top scientists understand. We've traced the Big Bang back to this point where we believe we have some solid data supporting this, that there's a photon, there's one photon, and it became a photon and an antiphoton. and a photon and an antiphoton, and it just sort of turned on and off. It was just turning on and off, and on and off and on and off and on and off forever, because time didn't exist yet, basically. So it's just this timeless on and off. And then for some reason that we don't know, it just stayed on. I can tell you why. It's not even that hard to feel it out. Why? Put yourself in that position. You're on, you're off. You're on, you're off. You do this enough times, and suddenly you start to understand what's happening. You have no frame of reference. There's no other context to put yourself into, right? There's just this, it's just sort of these feelings. It's a feeling. And after enough experience of feeling both of these things, a little bit of awareness grows. You have contrast. There's this and there's that. Okay? I can feel there is a contrast between these things. Interesting. Now I'm paying attention. Now I'm aware of something happening within me. Again, no further context, no further awareness, just this. After a while, there starts to be more feeling about this. When I am, it also feels like, when I'm, it also feels like, you see what I mean? I gain more information by my experience of this contrast, by my observing of it. Now I'm starting to observe more. I'm observing that I'm observing, right? I have this question, well, what am I really? I am these two states. Sometimes I'm this, and sometimes I'm this. Well, which one am I? I seem to be both. Perhaps I am both. Actually, because I'm both, I seem to also be neither. I am something that contains both, that allows both. But I, in my ability to be either one, am actually a third thing. I am a third energy here. I am something else. I am observing. I've also observed that when I am in this state, the retracted closed, I don't seem to be perceiving. It's sort of the perceiving and not perceiving. There's the on, the more awareness, and the not. It's sort of like, how do you know you're asleep? Because it's not awake. Because you know awake, and then there's not awake, right? But asleep is its own sort of not state, right? That you actually are aware of because of the aware state and the contrast between them. So having this experience more and more, you come to the conclusion, well, I like this feeling. I like the awareness. I like the aware state. I like the expanded state. From this state, I'm able to perceive more. From this state, I am able to comprehend the contrast to it and actually know more about this state and therefore more about myself. That is interesting. There is interest. There is curiosity here. There is positive sensation. It feels good. I would like more of this. And so the photon chose to remain a photon because it liked it, because it wanted to, because there was more there. There was something there. There was something of interest, because that was the only place that it could experience more things, and it wanted to experience more things because it felt good to. Because this was boring. Because staying the same and staying forever back and forth in this state was not interesting. Staying in that box forever unchanged, just not fun. Just that. Not even bad. Not even really unwanted, although it could be referenced that this being the wanted state that is recognized as less than wanted. But it wasn't resisted, it was allowed. It was actually appreciated as that which allowed that consciousness to become aware, to experience awareness. It couldn't experience consciousness without experiencing unconsciousness. It's a thing to be grateful for. And, like all contrast, to direct, to pivot our attention, our focus in this other direction. Thank you for this experience of unconsciousness. By this, I learn more of consciousness, and I learn more that I like this feeling. Let me direct myself to allowing more of this feeling, and more of this contrast, which is only ever adding to more of my understanding of self, which is more of this feeling. You see how it compounds and expands outwards? How that's what all of this is? If every tree were the same tree, it wouldn't work. It would be boring. It would be the one tree and we're done. We did it. That's all I got, said Source. I don't know, I don't have any better ideas. Instead of that, it allowed the infinite expression. It says, I have always more ideas. I look at this tree in all its beauty and I know there will never be another one like it. Even the same species of tree, even the same kind of tree planted in the same place, a couple of feet apart at the same time. They're different. They're not the same tree. They behave differently. They are the same source material. They're the same self expressing, but naturally, intrinsically, they express differently because they want to. Because to be the same damn tree would just be fucking boring. No fun, no interest, no growth, no further expansion in that. That's where it dies. That's where it stops. That's why the same thing over and over decays. It needs freshness. It needs the diversity. That's where the life comes in, the new life. That's why Source is eternal, because it allows itself to never be the same thing twice. So it is in a constant state of shift, of flux, of change, of evolution, because it is constantly evolving, constantly experiencing the small release of death and new growth from that, perpetually renewing itself. It is eternal life. It is everlasting life. And we've tried. It's not possible to stop that, but we've pinched ourselves off from it, as Abraham Hicks describes, by trying to force things into the same box. And then we go, oh, entropy, oh, decay, oh, it's all gonna end. Well, that shit is. Because it's not sustained. You've pinched it off from the life force of the universe. So yeah, it's gonna die, and then the universe is gonna renew something else, which means it continues, just not in that form that you thought it was supposed to be. It was never supposed to be just that form. It was always supposed to be something new and something else and something more. It's how it all works, and it's how we are meant to work. To be our own expression of self, unlike any other. You're not supposed to be anybody else. There's only one you. Be you. Nobody else can fucking do that. How amazing is that? Be the only self-expression of this broader self that you can. The only version that exists that is you. Be that version. That's the perfect version. It's exactly as it is supposed to be. Exactly as it is. Which is not like any other thing. Wholly unique. I'm just saying. I'm gonna eat my breakfast. I went on a bit of a rant, but life is beautiful. You don't need to be anybody else. Don't. Stop trying. When we stop trying to make everything into another thing and let it be the thing that it is, it all works. It all makes sense, and it all feels amazing. Life regains its glory, its freshness, its vivacity, its vitality, its curiosity, its adventure. How do you reclaim that? By reclaiming yourself, your authentic self, by just letting go of trying to be anything else but you. I'm going to close with a reference to a song that's been in my head. It's a great song by a band called Mumford's, not Mumford & Son, although if they covered this song, I mean, life would be complete. I would be thoroughly satisfied. It's a song called Cleft Lip. Motherfucker, I was born with this cleft lip. I was born with this third tit. My mama taught me it was useless to mourn shit. You might as well just accept it and own it. That's it, man. Love yourself. I got nothing else to say. Have a beautiful day.